Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Hi, Belinda. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Um, Glad it's Thankful Thursday and excited to see some new and familiar faces. Hi, Sabrina. Hello, Trisha. Hi, Angela. Welcome, Melissa, Dee, Linda. Thank you so much for joining us today. As I shared in this week's email, I've been reading a lot about indigenous practices of wayfinding and then also the neuroscience behind it. And our hippocampus, which is, I guess, in the front part of our brains, is where we hold spatial awareness, memory, and language. And, the title of the email was "You Know It by Heart." And when we notice our memories, we're being given this window into our hearts, and it's how we've actually evolved, to be able to hold where are we in the world, how are we moving, how do we speak to it, and how do we recall it. And that's really at the heart of our practice, is noticing, with just each moment, and using nature. And that's what I really love about the gratitude blooming cards with Belinda, is how nature is this incredible reminder for us to be aware of our surroundings, whether it provokes memories or our imagination or just where we are in a particular moment. And then how do we speak to it? And when we speak to it, that's when we sort of create the noticing, really sort of unleashes possibility. So there's only two rules for the gratitude circle. It's one is that your inner teacher is your best guide. And so the second rule is that there's no fixing, advising, or saving of others. And when we do that, we create the room for our own self-care, our social connection, and the synchronicity of beautiful coincidences. That's what has been so powerful about these practices as we've started to share them with more and more people. And the other sort of note I would say is that silence is a participant. And so really, when we create room for silence to participate, we're letting the experience to really sink into our hearts. And that's really where we're moved for greater self-compassion and growth. So Belinda will start us off with a meditation before we begin the sort of pulling of gratitude blooming cards. Cool?
Yeah, and before we dive in, just wanted to acknowledge the new and old friends that are here in the circle, and just wanted to give you all a chance also to chat in where you're calling from today, and just one word that describes, a feeling or a theme that's coming up for you in this moment, just to arrive in this space.
Yeah, the chat serves as like our group gratitude journal. And so feel free to use it and however you want to participate. And so whether you end up sharing verbally with your video on or off in the chat, or you're just listening, all of this is by invitation. And so you know what is comfortable for you, and you're welcome as you are. So we got some good food. We have folks from Oakland, Forgiveness, Linda, Angela joining us from Redondo, and her word is harmonizing. Melissa is present from San Francisco Bay Area. Brian, Pasadena, Discovery. Belinda, the lovely Mount Shasta and grounding. Sabrina, excited from South Los Angeles. Trisha, Arctic Tundra, Arlington, Texas. Blessings. Hearts are out to you in Texas, Trisha. Rain Dead from Oakland, Phil and Yolinda, and Dee, thank you for joining us from Vancouver, Washington. Joyful.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. So yeah, we'll just arrive together now in the space of, oh, and let's acknowledge Rita, patient from Redwood, Washington.
Redmond.
Redmond. So let's just take a minute to kind of arrive into this space. So for some of you, it's been a long day. So just really take a couple breaths at your own pace and just feel into where there's tightness in your body, and just allow yourself to kind of release or just soften just a little bit more. And just acknowledging how we're feeling in our bodies and what we might be needing from this space today. So we'll just take a couple deep breaths together and allow your eyes to close into softness. And as you breathe in, imagining grounding energy coming from the center of the earth, flowing into your body, and just really receiving that energy from the earth. And with your exhale, just letting yourself relax a little bit more into your body. Breathing in energy, breathing out to allow for relaxation. Breathing in, releasing with the exhale. Breathing in and release. For this next round of breath, really anchor in today around your intention for being here. Could be something that you're needing or wanting to receive in this circle. Can be a theme that's emerging in your life that you want to amplify. As you breathe, open yourself up to that intention even more. Breathing in, expanding, and release. For this next round of breath, let's imagine ourselves rooted like a big redwood tree, or a tree that you're connected to in your life. And imagine roots growing from your tailbone or the soles of your feet, going all the way down to the center of the earth, slowly traveling down, down, down into the earth. And as you breathe, just feeling that anchoring of that deep rootedness with the earth. And imagine your roots growing, sinking into the earth, and settling all the way at the center of Mother Earth. And from this place of strength and grounding, imagining the body like a strong trunk of a tree, and breathe into that feeling of strength and alignment in your body. Breathing in deep anchoring and rootedness. Releasing anything that doesn't feel good for us in this moment. In this next round of breath, imagining yourself expanding upward as you feel that anchoring from the earth. Imagining your branches expanding all the way out into the sky. Your heart expanding with the branches. Breathing in groundedness. Exhale to release. Imagining a soft breeze coming through the air and how strong and grounded you are, even to the wind. Feeling the anchoring of the earth and the expansiveness of the sky. From this place of wholeness, we can connect in with ourselves. Breathing in rootedness, releasing out. Enjoying that feeling of expansion and grounding at the same time in our bodies. One more deep breath, feeling that integration of the earth and the sky as this big, strong tree that you are. And as you exhale, send the energy of our roots all the way down back into the earth. Imagining the roots of everyone in this circle today connecting back into the center of the earth. And give some gratitude for the trees for teaching us about grounding today. As we bring our roots back down into the earth and slowly transitioning from this inner place of rootedness to this beautiful circle, taking some time to transition, and saying hi to everyone back again here.
That was beautiful, Belinda. Thank you so much. I always appreciate how you use nature in your meditation to remind us of our own inner nature, and that these things we're more interconnected than sometimes can happen in the day-to-day movement of life, and we think we're somehow separate from nature, and it's just in that pausing that we're like, oh no, I'm part of it, and I can be stretched by just imagining myself more deeply rooted into the earth and more connected to the sky. Thank you. So again, this is the part of the practice where we get to pull one of the 39 gratitude blooming cards and then just share in the moment what the image of the card, the flower or the plant or the word or the prompt sort of invokes in you. And when we do that, it really, again, is just giving us an opportunity to invite synchronicity, that moment of beautiful coincidence, to just see what's revealed. So again, your inner teacher is your best guide, and there's no fixing and advising or saving of others. And we will now magically have the cards appear. I always love that part. I feel like a magician. Does anybody want to volunteer to pick a card today? Sabrina. All right. So there's 7 rows, and you just, Brian, who's our awesome producer extraordinaire, will stop when you tell him to. You're on mute, so if you can go ahead and unmute. Not yet. Or you can type in the chat.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So if we can go over to the first one in this row, that'll be it.
Ooh, let's see.
Ooh. Allium triquitrum?
Allium triquitrium.
Okay. Self-care. What can you do today and every day to nurture love for yourself? What about this image, word, prompt resonates with you, Sabrina?
Well, self-care is like one of my favorite things. I feel like I love the flowers on the card, and I feel like those words, the after 10, remind me of Harry Potter.
Yes.
And to answer the question, the one thing that I try to do, which I'm not great at, is drinking water, and getting through that liter or more is how I try to take care of myself and love myself every day. And should. So yeah, I like that card.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to share what comes up for them with this card? Go ahead, either raise your hand or either digitally or physically. D? Go ahead and unmute. I don't know if it, yeah. D, it shares in the chat, exercise. Daily exercise, that's a good one. Also feel free to share if you want, D, at any point with the mic. Anybody else want to share on this one? Angela?
Oh, I have so many things depending on what the day is, but let's see what can I do today is I think I can care for my mom. I feel like when I care for others, it's kind of a form of caring for myself. I love to walk, especially very early in the morning before other critters and humans are out. And I love to sit quietly for at least 10-15 minutes every morning as soon as I get up and just look at the garden.
Thank you.
breathe and have care for self. And sorry, I'm just, well, not sorry, not sorry. Just accessing my mic to just continue to step one foot in front of the other.
Thank you, Tricia. Linda. Feel free to access your mic.
Okay, so I have never spoken on a Zoom meeting before, so this is a big step for me, and this came up perfectly for me today. I follow your app, and wow, this is a big one. I'm actually going to a ceremony tomorrow to go on a journey to try to heal myself from a lot of past trauma. So this is very powerful for me, and I want to thank you all for doing this. And so I am today sitting in myself and getting my intention, and so that is my self-love and my self-care, that I will be starting a whole new world, I hope, tomorrow. And so I just wanted to share that, and thank you all.
Thank you, Linda, for joining us and the courage to share.
I'll share something. Well, one thing is recently the card decks have, the pictures have now the actual plant. So we have the plant with the artwork, which I'm just really appreciating. This one in particular is just very striking to see the artwork with the photo of nature next to it. And I'm just really struck by how the plant is so aligned, like a little bit like how our grounding exercise was. And in my body today, I just felt more tall from just even being able to connect into my body. And I think what this card is telling me today is just like taking some time every day for connection with my physical body, because I find that especially during the work week, I tend to get really in my head with computer work, and how beautiful the body really is in keeping us alive and well and breathing, and just reminding me not to take that part for granted.
Thank you, Linda. We'll also share on this one. Well, obviously, we talk about self-care for this practice of gratitude. And we've never pulled this card. And so the fact that this was the moment when we pulled it just is exciting. And what I love about the design of the plant is just the elegant simplicity of it. Like, self-care does not need to be complicated. There's just something about appreciating the simplicity of that move. And I look at the plant and it almost sort of, it's like how our meditation posture should be. It's like, it's not erect and stiff, but it's not sort of slumped over. It's just sort of like a nice, soft, gentle hold. So I think my next meditation, I'm going to hold this image in my mind. That's just how I want to rest. So thank you. Anybody else want to speak to this one? Does it evoke something for you? A memory, an imagination, a moment? Trisha shares in the chat, sitting tall today with self-care. I love it. All right, well, we can pick another card. Do we have another volunteer that wants to pick? Trisha? All right, I saw your hand. Go for it.
Busted. You got me. Let's see. Go down. Let's go down a little more to the next. I don't know where we are, and I've got my screen too big on my phone. Let's see. The one more down, Belinda. I always go in the middle. We're in the middle. Here we are, right there, to the left. Yeah, let's try that one. Ah!
Trisha, you picked that card like so many times. It's amazing.
I guess I need some healing. I'm working on it.
This is the peony, and the word is healing. Taking the time to heal yourself is an expression of gratitude for this one wild and precious life you've been given. How can you support your own healing?
I do have a wild and precious life. I just realized well, I'll just share. I mean, hey, that's what we're here for, right? I just realized the other day, after 2 weeks, I had a allergic reaction to a new medication. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been having an allergic reaction to a medication. So stopped that, got the right medicine yesterday, and on my way to healing. And the Arctic tundra doesn't help because I can't get through to my other doctor. So it's just challenges every day. But I did self-care today, and we have power, water, and food. So that's important. And I have an appointment with the doctor I haven't reached. Sorry, but I reached on Tuesday. So thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. Does the peony speak to anyone else? Melissa.
Hello. Yeah, wow. I was just reflecting on the past almost year now, and the pandemic really gave me an opportunity to focus on healing, the time and the spaciousness to embark on a healing journey that I've been wanting to go on for some time. So that's kind of been my silver lining that I've been really grateful for. But sometimes it's been hard, thinking, oh, I should have used my time this way or that way, or been more productive with this or that. But this is a really nice reminder that, like, taking that spacious time to focus on healing was no small thing. Like, that was really a huge thing that I should be proud of and grateful for, that I focus that energy towards my own healing. And it's a process, but that's the helpful reminder I'm getting from this card today.
Thank you, Melissa. Amy. I got your name correct.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I haven't been on here before, and I guess I'm just trusting the timing. I feel like I'm not super clear with technology. I think I'm in my own way a little bit. Sort of scattered. Sorry. I lost my mom in November, and I brought her home to take care of her. And I knew that was coming, and I'm glad that I got to take care of her. And I got through Christmas, and then I found my brother dead in January. And so healing for me is sort of, yeah, I'm hurting, and I'm working part-time and trying to keep my head up, but I'm really depressed. I'm trying to stay alive and have joy. And I needed somewhere to be seen, I guess. So here I am.
Thank you, Amy, so much for sharing and the courage to show up. And just so you know, Amy, if you're not familiar with technology, there's definitely some love in the chat for you there. I'll share on this one, a healing, and I think that I was in a healing circle earlier today, and a person shared about their spouse going through some cancer treatments. And while he knew he needed to let go, just what the mind does and what the heart does aren't always in sync. And I appreciated him sharing, because it just, I can be very logic oriented in my orientation, and just that reminder that what does it mean to let go is not something that the mind can actually do. It's something that the heart needs to do. And I just kind of feel like with healing, there's not anything we can actually do, but in some ways it's just sort of giving space for it to happen. And I try to sometimes, I talked to Belinda earlier today, I try to sometimes find elegant solutions to problems when sometimes it's just a problem and there isn't actually an elegant solution. And just what does it mean to actually like let it go? And then what sort of, I don't know what it's called, when maybe it's the healing, it's like, it's automatic, it happens on its own. And I don't know, I was just thinking about self-care too. It's like the caring can happen on its own if we just get out of our own way sometimes. And my mind definitely gets in my own way sometimes. So I'm appreciating this card from that lens of letting go. Thank you.
I wanted to share that this card reminds me of my mother. She loves peonies and she grows them in her garden, and they just love her too. I mean, loves to show me when it's springtime, all the beautiful flowers that are blooming, and they're all different colors. And in my culture, there's a lot of reverence for this plant, this flower. And so yeah, it gives me this feeling of gentleness when I look at the flower and I look at the way that the plant is drawn, kind of bowing down. And in some ways, for me, the answering to this question, yeah, I agree with Omar that I don't feel like it's an action, yet there is this feeling for me of like gentleness. And that can be so hard, because I just feel like when I am in a hard place, there's a reaction to want to control. And that is a very gripping kind of feeling. And this flower is like the opposite of that. Like, it's not attached, it's not trying to will something to happen. It's just so gentle, and it's natural in its beauty. So that's kind of what I'm holding on to, is just this, like, what would it look like if I was just more gentle with myself? And maybe the healing will just emerge or bloom from there.
Thank you. Trisha?
The topic of mothers seems to be, I just felt the need to share after Belinda mentioned her mother and Amy mentioned her mother. My mother was just diagnosed with breast cancer. And so that's, I've been so in my own world, and now focusing my energy and healing for her so she can get through this, so that the tumor in her. And we're quite some distance apart physically, but she's in my heart. And she's the fourth person in her immediate family to have been diagnosed with some form of cancer. So that's kind of heavy too. Cheers.
Thank you, Trisha. Linda?
I just wanted to chime in. Today's actually, I lost my mother 3 years ago, March 10th. And today is actually her birthday. And it's also, I don't know, anyone here knows Audre Lorde. She was a beautiful a Black lesbian poet, and today's her birthday. And so I just wanted to send that out, that healing energy for mothers, if they're here or not, I hope are here for all of us. So celebrate my mom's birthday and Audre Lorde today. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Anybody else like to share on the peony or the healing, taking the time to heal yourself as an expression of gratitude for this one wild and precious life you've been given? How can you support your own healing? Cool. Well, we can pick another card.
I wonder if we'll do 4 again like last week. That was the first time.
Anybody want to volunteer? Feel free to raise your physical or digital hand. I feel like pulling the cards is one of the fun parts of this, so it's an act of joy in my mind, in my heart, or should I say?
Mm-hmm.
Catch myself. All right, well, nobody else wants to pick. I'm happy to go. I'm gonna go row 3, 6th column. So I'm not sure where we are here, but here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6, all the way. I guess 6 is all the way over. Did it used to be 7? I don't know. Oh, I'm thinking of 7 row. Ah, look at this.
Oh, wow. That came up last week.
It did. So Rose of Sharon, abundance. You already have everything you need. Oof, do you believe it? Wow. I feel like that's the way that this is framed, it feels like an accountability card. I remember my first job out of college, I was teaching in AmeriCorps and in East Palo Alto, and we had every Friday trainings, and this one person who really did like more like art type expression shared that the only way that we're ever held accountable for our dreams is by sharing them. And I don't know, I guess when I say that you already have everything you need is like recognizing a certain level of accountability. Like, how much do you really believe in the practice of gratitude? Can you really be thankful for everything that you have? And then when you do, then what you have is enough. And I guess the other thing that always strikes me about this is that Brene Brown has this line that's beautiful, that the opposite of scarcity isn't abundance, it's enough. And I think that when I think about abundance as what is enough, then yeah, I believe it. And I'm really appreciating this new card too, Belinda, with the bright pink splashing. It's like I feel like the black and white and the pink are talking to each other. And it's in some ways, whether the black and white is the scarcity or the pink is abundance, it's like, no, we're enough no matter what form we come in. So I'm appreciating your artists' continued imagination of these cards. Thank you. Just writes balance. Anybody else want to go on abundance? Angela.
I love this card. It's a hibiscus, right? But it's also known as the Rose of Sharon, which happens to be the national flower of Korea. And Mukong means, in that language, eternity or inexhaustible abundance, really. So it's such an amazing feeling to encounter this flower that I have 3 different colors in my yard: yellow, orange, and red. And it's one of those things that makes me realize how the blessings come in ways that have nothing to do with the material, but the joy that you can feel when you just encounter whatever the nature has to offer. And yeah, I love the idea of enough, right? Everything is right here. We spend so much time looking out there, and it's all right here, even when you join with out there. So I love this card. Thank you very much for pulling it. Plus, it's number 22, which happens to be my partner. 22. Tutu.
Oh, so
Tell him his
beautiful.
card was pulled today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Angela.
Uh-huh.
Wow, Sabrina, I didn't know that was the name of this flower. I have this tattoo. I feel like you have to share something beyond the chat not to call you out, but that's just so amazing.
So I might have gotten this wrong, but I thought that this flower was also the Hawaiian state flower.
We're going to go with yes.
Okay. I have this inexplicable draw to Hawaii, and I had the pleasure of going there for the first time in 2007. And I had an amazing experience. So first, I learned a great lesson in patience for other cultures, because the way Hawaiians, like traditional Hawaiians, tell stories It's very long and slow and drawn out. But if you make it to the end of the story, it always, from what I experienced, had a very significant point, and each thing that they brought up in the story made sense once you made it to the end of the story. And so I was like, you got to chill and just listen to what these folks are talking about, because it'll be worth it if you can just make it to the end of the story. And also while I was there, I'm just talking. Also while I was there, while a guy was telling a story, I saw a sea turtle, and that was the first sea turtle that I've ever seen. And the guy was like, this is like a great omen for you, because those turtles don't usually come this close to the shore, and no one hardly ever sees them. So it's a good sign for your life. And so I have those two things tattooed on my body, because I don't know, I'm just so moved by the whole experience of being there and can't wait to go back there. So that's my story.
Thank you, Sabrina. Appreciate what Angela shared in the chat. Welcoming you home, Sabrina. You were there before.
Trisha, did you have something?
May I? The feeling of abundance, having what I've been through the last week or so with the snow. 5 inches of snow has crippled the Dallas of Texas, and everything has come to a screeching halt. And having just the basics of food, water, and shelter, and knowing that that's enough, and that being able to continue with, tying the cards together of self-care and all of the
Healing.
And healing. Thank you, Omar. And abundance through eternity, that all will be well. Just a random thought sharing.
We call that synchronicity here, but thank you.
Thank you, dear.
No random, just beautiful coincidence.
No, it's not random. It's always a synchronicity when we have. And we were all meant to be here today, each and every time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have a really kind of silly comment to make today, because the graphic changed. I'm seeing it for the first time, and I keep feeling like the flower wants to is telling us all to dance. Like when I look at the word abundance, I keep seeing the word dance part in it, and I don't think I've ever thought of abundance. I've never focused my eyes on the word dance in that word. But maybe there is something around, the sense of freeness, when we're just dancing for ourselves, that feels like, yeah, there's no worries. Everything's great. So maybe I'm getting some instructions to dance for myself today. I don't know. It's silly.
Melissa shares in the chat, when you're dancing, you have all you need, your body.
That's so true.
You don't even need music. It's already in you.
Yeah, Angela, I feel like we're connecting there. It's like, oh yeah, that's all. Just move it.
Amy, I don't know if I saw you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that I love some of the things that have been mentioned so far about the synchronicities and being here. And one of the things that I have discovered that I really love, that I feel free, is dancing. So that comment wasn't random either. That was actually really nice. And then the other thing that I thought of with in regards to abundance is just the focus of being here in a gratitude circle of the quote that gratitude turns what we have into enough.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to try to read Belinda's mind and say that she wants to pull one more card.
I mean, 2 + 2 = 4, right? Like it feels a little imbalanced to go with 3 this week.
All right, if 2-2 was pulled, 22. Anybody want to pull a card? This is fun, people. This is an act of joy, and
there's no bad card. They're all good.
The card. I think one of the things we learned in 2020 that joy is resistance. So anybody feeling, and you can also just type it in the chat. It's 7 rows, 6 columns. So if you want to just,
I'm gonna say row 4. So somebody else give me a card in row 4.
All right.
Let's do it together.
All right, Sabrina says 2. So row 4, column 2. I love it. This is the first group picking. Fandom. Oh. Wow. So it's the rose, number 9, vulnerability. It takes courage to be vulnerable. How can you show vulnerability to others? What can bloom from those connections?
And it says all shall be well on the card. So Trisha, it's connecting with you.
It is connecting with the, oh, help me, Omar. My mind is not so.
The self-care, healing.
Self-care, healing, and abundance and vulnerability, that all shall be well and the snow shall melt. We might have floods, but it'll melt.
One thing at a time.
Yes, one small little thing at a time. I have heat.
Sure.
And yes, thank you.
This one speak for you, Sabrina?
Being vulnerable is not one of my strengths. Someone told me this one day, I'm either 0 emotion or a flood of the emotions. And so I have to try to figure out if there's like a 60-40 or a 50-50 in there where I can, kind of control the emotion.
One, right?
What was that?
I think it's just gotta.
Oh, okay. But how can you show your vulnerability to others? That's a question that I present to y'all, so I can get a little bit of assistance with it, because I haven't figured it out. But I do know that if you make those connections, or if I'm ever in a space where someone is being vulnerable with me, it always feels like I have like a connection with them that's deeper than someone that I've never been around in that space. So it does definitely have a purpose. I'm just, again, not best at it. And I love roses. Every week I buy myself fresh roses. That's it.
Sounds like a great act of self-care.
Amy, were you unmuting?
Yeah, I was just going to say that definitely this has been a big step for me in vulnerability, because I mean, some of you have maybe been on this before. This is my first time. I think I've seen and signed up. I sign up for things randomly that I'm drawn to, that I think are important, like gratitude. And it's obviously helped me shift out of depression at different times I've struggled. And so this isn't necessarily a totally new thing, but it's definitely been kind of some big back-to-back life events that, well, for one, yeah, my mom, she was my person. So that was the big one. And I knew that was coming. And with COVID, that was partly why she was in a care facility. I pulled her out to take care of her because Otherwise, I wouldn't have even been able to say goodbye, only through a window. And I wasn't satisfied with that. So definitely made some big changes. But I guess what I'm not trying to ramble here, but just say that it's easier for me to be vulnerable in anonymous situations like this, but it gives me little stepping stones of confidence that, I guess doing that action that, and I've heard the action cures fear. So taking that step and, just putting myself out there. I'm sitting here alone, I'm working, remotely, feeling pretty isolated, struggling, trying to get out of my own head. And, obviously the storms have affected people and stuff too. So I don't know, it just taking the time to just change it out, shift something out, do something different, even if it's uncomfortable, but it's helping me shift out of my own head and my own despair of, losing my family members. So thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, Amy. Well, I'll share and oh, go ahead, Angela.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
Well, I was gonna take Belinda's cue from the last card, which was abundance. This is vulnerability. And I just, I feel like it's an ability, it's like a muscle. And when we exercise a muscle, it becomes stronger. You know, I never imagined hosting these. I never imagined I ended up hosting 40 of these last year. And I had when I remember it was actually about this time last year, I was hosting in-person gratitude events, and COVID hit in the middle of a series that I was leading. And so I had to like figure out how to do this online. And I remember I did it on Facebook Live. And so I didn't even know how to hold the camera. I was totally just trying to figure out how to lead a gratitude practice that had previously been in person on Facebook Live. And right in the middle of it, UPS man banging on the door super loud. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the opposite of like calm and joy and gratitude. But now it's become a practice, and it's never done, as I guess the other part of what I'm learning. Thank you. Angela?
When I see this word vulnerability, I think about fragility, how fragile our existence is. And then within that word actually is the word agility. So, to the extent that one can be nimble and understand that, we have these deep attachments and expectations to the plan, whatever the plan is, and I'm one of those people. And inevitably, life happens, right? So, like we're all learning through the pandemic, I feel I am anyway, had so many things going on, traveling freely, seeing my friends, being able to do the things that we no longer can do. You know, the body itself is a very fragile piece of equipment. It's perfectly synchronized, and one little thing goes wrong and everything happens. You think about cancer, everybody wants everything to be equal, everyone to be the same, treated the same. There's this notion now that's emerged about equity, which puts a different value set on. But if you think about if everyone were to be the same at a cellular level, if every cell were to be the same in each part of our body, there's a tumor that grows. It's not meant to be. Diversity is actually the most natural and healthy. And it has to work in synchronicity. There has to be a rhythm, there has to be timing, there has to be a harmonizing. So for me, when I see vulnerability, I see it as an opportunity. Because what can bloom from an encounter with vulnerability is that you can suffer. Usually that's when the creativity emerges. And I don't know about showing vulnerability to others, but I make myself move into unfamiliar spaces, and even spaces that I know will be hostile sometimes, just to be present. And sometimes I get slammed, and sometimes I learn. Sometimes nothing happens at all, and all of it is okay.
Mm.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Well, I think that's a beautiful moment to begin to wrap up our gratitude circle. I see Trisha, you like to share as we begin to close.
It's inevitable. I like to share. It's obvious, isn't it? That was beautiful. I just really wanted to touch on that. That was absolutely beautiful. What Angela, is Angela right? Angela just shared. Thank you. And the 22, your partner Angela, and the flower, that the card that you touched on, and synchronicities. And life is impermanent. I wanted to put that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, as we begin to close this gratitude circle, one, I just want to say thank you. And I want you to thank yourself for showing up. I think showing up is both an act of vulnerability and an act of courage. And as Amanda Gorman said, when we do these things, we can both be the light and see the light. And we can both see the light and be the light. We do that for ourselves, and we do that for others. And that's what, to me, the power of gratitude as a social emotion, and why it intersects self-care and social connections, because gratitude, when it is a practice, it both is healing for yourself, but also is healing for others. And when we do that, that's where we create abundance. And so I don't know if Brian's able to pull the 4 cards that we pulled together into the chat, but I believe just self-care, healing, maybe Belinda, you can help me.
Abundance.
And I'm thinking of like agility.
Vulnerability.
I got so many words in my head right now. So we're going to just take 3 breaths to help close us out. So just in a position that's comfortable for you, and just you can let your eyes rest or close them if that's what's comfortable for you. But just this first breath in, I invite you to just look back over the last hour and just notice whatever emotions or feelings or thoughts, memories came up for you. And then this next breath, in this present moment, this moment right now, just how are you feeling? And in this last breath, I invite you to take one thing that you noticed today, whether it was a flower, a comment, an emotion, a memory, and how can you carry that with you for the rest of the week? How can you use that moment to remind you to practice self-care, to practice healing, to practice vulnerability, to practice abundance? Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Feel free, I think, to join us every Thursday. Check out Gratitude Blooming's shop. She's got beautiful cards. You can get the physical deck of her cards if you haven't downloaded the G Thanks app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you being here, and thank you.
Thank you for your vulnerability, everyone. So grateful.
Great dancing with you. Woo, woo. Maybe Brian can put some music on for us. We can have a little dance party to close us out. It's great seeing you. Cheers.
Take care.